Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pod's Moving and Storage Studio, it's the Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined this hour by best-selling author and host of The Ken Coleman Show, Ken Coleman himself. And we're here to take your calls at 888-825-5225. If you've got money questions, I'm here for you. If you've got questions around purpose and career and work, and is now the time to switch jobs, did you just get laid off? Ken is here to help. So give us a call, 888-825-5225.
You know what, George, I've learned in my life that every time I've had some personal growth, an area of my life where I've grown personally, I always see professional and financial growth as a result of that. And so if you're new to the audience, I'm your personal growth coach, your work on purpose, more money, more meaning guy. So always love to take those calls. If you feel stuck, let's get you unstuck today. So you ready to roll?
I'm ready.
You look
Let's
fantastic in your denim shirt, by the way.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah.
Wow. Man.
See what I did there?
It's good to have friends like Ken.
Make George feel good about himself so that now he gives better advice.
Taken aback.
Well,
let's see if Kevin gets that advice. He's in Turnersville, New Jersey. Kevin, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey, George. Hey, Ken. Thanks for taking my call. I really appreciate this.
You bet.
Cool.
What's going on?
All right. So I just finished baby step 3. I'm on the baby step 4, 5, and 6.
Awesome.
I don't have to do 5. I don't have any kids in school, but I'm about to start adding 15% into my 401k. Okay. And my Roth 401k is that I get a 6% match on. Okay. But because I'm 55 years old, I'm allowed to do what they call a catch-up contribution. And my catch-up contribution is another $7,500 that I can contribute to that for the year. Do I do that, or do I just stay with the 15%, take the 6% match, and then work on the house with the extra money that I get for my monthly pay income?
How much do you have in retirement right now?
I'm sitting at like $400K.
Oh, nice. Okay. I thought you were going to tell me you had nothing in there, so that makes me feel a whole lot better. What's left on the mortgage?
It's about $190.
And what's your household income?
Right now, it's sitting at like close to 100.
Okay.
Like 99.
Love it. And do you see yourself continuing to work for another 5-10 years? What's that looking like?
10 years. I'll be 65 in 10 years. So in 10 years, maybe a little bit longer, but
Well, I would stay the course, the ladder on what you said, which is 15%. That's going to get you, it won't get you quite close to maxing out the Roth 401k, but with that match, you're getting 100% return on that 6%, which is great. And so with all the margin you have beyond that, I'm going to throw it at the house. You got 190 left on the house, you make 100. I would set a real hard goal of saying, hey, in 4 years, I want this mortgage gone.
Okay. All right.
That puts you at 59, making 100K.
I was at 3 years with them.
I love that.
But
Let's go for 3 years. Because then 3 years from now, then we can start maxing out the Roth 401k, doing all of the contributions we can with the catch-up. There's also other ways you can really kickstart that retirement, which is backdoor Roth IRAs, mega backdoor Roth IRAs. So there's a lot of options for you. Maxing out your HSA is another great thing to do at that point. But I would focus on that house payoff and use that and dangle that carrot of more contributions coming up in 3 years.
Got it. All right. Thanks for the clear path. That's what I needed. I'm glad I called today.
You got it, Kevin. We are here to help, my friend. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to Billy in Atlanta. Billy, welcome to the show.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Sure. What's going on today?
So just a question around 401, having to move it out of a old employment retirement fund and going to take a penalty regardless of leaving it there or moving it because the new job doesn't offer one for 2 years. So advice on that, do I leave it there and just continue with the market up and downs, or do I take that full penalty on a cash withdrawal to pay off a little bit of debt?
Why do you need to withdraw it? Why don't you just do a direct rollover to an IRA and avoid all penalties?
According to the retirement plan now, even doing a rollover to the IRA requires a penalty. They don't have that option pre-built in, and it would be similar to taking a cash withdrawal or withdrawing it from the current plan and starting a new traditional plan.
I have never heard of an employer not allowing you to do a direct rollover without penalties. You're 100% sure on that?
I am pretty sure I've spent countless hours on with this retirement plan, and I'm about 99% sure there is a penalty to roll it over into more a traditional style.
Okay. Well, either way, whatever it's going to take to get that into an IRA, that would be my move versus moving it over to your new employer. So you already have the new job?
I do. Yeah, about 2 months into it.
Similar retirement plan there?
Similar. Of course, I don't know all the options yet just because I'm not to that time point, but from what I've seen, it is very similar.
Okay. Well, I would also get in touch with a SmartVestor Pro and see what your options are. They'll be more knowledgeable on the ins and outs of 401k plans and help you navigate this to limit any fees or penalties you would pay.
Okay.
Because I've never heard of this where you can't do a direct rollover. Do you know what the penalty is?
18%.
18% in penalties for doing a direct rollover?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right. I mean, I'm looking into it here to see if that's a thing out there. I've never heard of this. Ken, have you ever heard of penalties on this?
I haven't, and I know you're 99% sure, but I can't tell you how many times I've told Stacy, my wife, that I'm 100% sure that I'm putting this thing together properly, all to find out that I wasn't sure at all. I really do think that you need to speak with one or two of our SmartVestor pros in your area. Do you have a SmartVestor Pro from Ramsey?
No, I do not.
This is a phone call. RamseySolutions.com, your area there, a lot of SmartVestor pros. Have a conversation with them. That's what they do. These are people that we vetted. They don't work for us. They're independent or they work for organizations, but they teach the way we teach, and they are experts on this. They need to look at the fine print. They need to advise you on this. I'm a little skeptical, and I just know how many times I've been 99% sure, and all to find out that I was 100% wrong.
Yeah, I can't imagine that every employee that's ever left that company has taken an 18% hit on their retirement account when they leave. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not saying you're wrong. It may just be a weird fluke in their system and their contract, but I would triple check on
Billy.
that. Because everything I'm saying is a direct rollover is exactly what helps you do this without penalty, without creating taxable events.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Wishing you the best of luck, man.
Yeah, and just on a side note, even cashing it out to pay off roughly $50,000 in total debt and still adding some to the bank account wouldn't be an option?
No, I would definitely not do that. It's not worth the penalties and fees. You're unplugging all of the growth and compound interest that could be happening. Use your future income and any savings, liquid cash, to do that, but do not rob your future to pay off the past. That is a bad idea, my friend. Thanks for the call. More of your calls coming up. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to save up to 45% off everything site-wide. Go to Blinds.com now to learn more.
Welcome back to the Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined this hour by Ken Coleman. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in, we'll talk about your life, your work, your career, your purpose, your money. We are here for you to help you take that right next step. Our question of the day is brought to you by Ottomans.
Ottomans, when you just need to get your feet up.
It's what they're there for.
Yep.
Love it. Today's question comes from Al in Virginia. He asks, what is your recommended percentage of income going into retirement if you're debt-free and you own your home? Is it still 15%? Currently, I'm right at 30%, and I'm 51 years old with north of $1 million in assets, 50% of which is in a 401k. Is it possible to invest too much? I love this question, and I love where Al is at financially. So if you're tracking with the baby steps, Al is at baby step 7, the final baby step, because he has a paid-for home, no debt, he's got money in the bank. And so at baby step 7, you can invest more than 15% to your heart's desire. It's build wealth and give. And there's no parameters around that, and it's for a good reason. It looks different for everyone. So is it possible to invest too much? I think it's a great question because on one hand, on the financial side, no. You could have $5 million, you could have $10 million from retirement, you could have $20 million. It only gives you more options, a bigger legacy, and more responsibility to manage, but it's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it really is. And again, it just speaks to people who are new to this process. When you get a question like this and you hear this, like, this is possible. You can do this. There's a reason why there's 7 baby steps. And I love that it's a way for many of you who feel like this is so very far off to realize it's attainable.
Well, and at 51 with $1 million in assets, while that's an incredible milestone, it's probably not enough to retire off of for the next 40 years if you want to have a really great retirement. So,
well, let's also point out that he's 51 and then, average length of life. I mean, he's still got a long way to go in a good way. He's going to keep racking it up.
40, 50 years, you go, how much do I need to live? And so a good rule of thumb is to go, how much do I want to live off in retirement in yearly income? Multiply that by 25. And that gives you a really good number. And here's why. There's something called the Trinity study out there, Ken, that said if you peel off 4% of your nest egg every year, your initial balance should remain where it is.
Nice.
So if you have $1 million, you can peel off 4% without really ever touching that $1 million.
That's a great exercise. Yeah.
And so as far as investing too much, I would always caution you to invest more than you think you'll need because taxes are going to continue to go up. Inflation's going to continue to go up. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, where you're going to want to live. And so I always want more options versus less. Yeah. Now, here's why I will say you're investing too much. If you are miserable in your everyday life, but you are at least a great saver, but your wife wants to go on vacation and you won't take her, even though you don't have any debt and you've got $1 million. That's where I would say, let's dial it back so we can actually enjoy the next few years of our life while we're still young and able. Let's travel. Let's do those things. So if you're allocating to spending and to giving, then the rest can go to saving, and you can do that with intentionality and no regret.
Yeah, I love that plan. And again, very simple. That 4% rule is a great rule for people to get an idea of what I want to get to so I can live the life that I think I want to.
Absolutely. And if you were going, well, that feels impossible because I'm 51, I have nothing saved, there is still hope for you. We might need to reset the expectations of what we thought retirement would be. We might need to look at a different place to live, to downsize our house, to downsize our life. But you can still retire with dignity if you follow this Ramsey plan. If you get out of debt and have a pile of money in the bank and you're investing towards the future, you can still have a great retirement.
Here's a thought. Just a thought, George. We should probably talk about this sometime on the show. We are seeing baby boomers retire at record rates. So we're kind of in the middle of this, and it's going to be interesting to see over the next 5 to 10 years, or let's call it 15 years, what does the data show us about these large amounts of baby boomers retiring? Because retiring, if it is the notion that it is, I'm not going to ever work again, and I'm just going to sit around the house and watch TV, take a good afternoon nap, that's resigning. That I'm old and I'm dying. I think retiring needs to have a component of certainly hobbies and things that you enjoy where you are active mentally and physically. But I also think it needs to have a level of contribution. And while it may not be working the same amount of hours, When I look at retirement age, it has no picture at all with me not working. Am I working less? Am I working at a slower pace? Sure. Am I playing more and traveling more? Absolutely. But contributing through some type of work, it's got to be the case. And I just think aging studies, if you want to go look at these things, do your own homework, it shows that. Staying active is not just go to your swim class at the YMCA and play golf with the guys on Saturday morning. So I just think it's really interesting for those of you that are like, I'm 51 and I'm just starting. You know what? It's possible for you to enter into retirement age, have money, work some, and still have a great lifestyle. It's not all on, I got to just live off the 401k. That may be controversial to some, but I just think we're going to see that shifts with younger generations.
Absolutely. And there's only so much on Netflix before you get bored.
Oh, my
You need to have a little bit of purpose in life.
It's true.
So great reminders there, Ken. All right, let's go to the phones. Mitch is in Atlanta. Mitch, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Oh, man, this is incredible. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, happy to do it.
Thanks for calling.
Wow. Here's where I am. In 2008, I'm a full-time realtor. I've been a realtor for 25 years. And 2008-9, when the market changed, I lost everything. So I did foreclosure. A year and a half later, I bought a house of $40,000. And my parents are renovators, so they came down and renovated the house. So the house is, I have no debt. You know, paid the house off. It's probably worth about $300,000 now, and I have no debt. You know, I do a debit card. I got $6,000 in checking. I've got $23,000 in savings. I have a lot of free time. I'm still work full time as a realtor, but I have a lot of free time, and I don't know what to do now. I don't know if I can score anymore. You know, no debt, zero, and I don't spend on anything. I don't buy anything. I just don't know what to do at this point. If my parents, if they pass away, which would be the worst day of my life, they have about 13 houses. So me and my brother, my sister will be looking pretty good with money.
When you say you don't know what to do you mean do with your day because you're just not interested in selling houses anymore? Is that what you're saying?
No, I do. I want to have a retirement, and I just don't know how to do it. I mean, you know, I've got the 6%. I've got money in the bank, but I need retirement, and I don't know how to do that.
It sounds like the real estate properties would become part of your portfolio to cash flow some retirement, correct?
Yes.
But for now, let's say your parents live much longer. What would you do if you were retired tomorrow? Where would your income come from?
Well, I do cars as a hobby.
Have you been investing at all into the market?
No, that's the problem. I don't know where to invest and what to do. I have zero clue about what to do from here.
So you have no 401k, no retirement accounts at all?
No IRAs?
No.
Okay.
No.
That would be a good first step. How old are you?
I'm 59. I guess I'm at step 7 of your baby steps.
How much cash you have in the bank?
I got $22,000 in savings and $6,000 in checking.
That would be basically your emergency fund and spending money, maybe a little bit more. So we still need to figure out retirement income.
What are you making per year on average?
Between $50,000 and $60,000.
So you're not selling a ton of homes.
No, I'm not doing a lot. Market's crazy; it's up and down. But no, I'm not doing a ton of business.
Well, I tell you what, this is complex. So, George, let's hold Mitch over because I think there are a lot of people that are in his shoes. Mitch, George is going to walk you through step by step what you need to do because there is time. We were just talking about this, and you've got unlimited potential with that income, especially in the Atlanta area. So let's hang on.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a financial component here, and there's also a purpose component that I want Ken to dig into because you're 59, you got a whole life ahead of you, and you're going, I don't know, man. I don't know what's next. And we want to help you with that, Mitch. So hang on the line. We'll be right back here on The Ramsey Show.
Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined by Ken Coleman this hour. I know we get a lot of new listeners this time of year, and so if you're a new listener and you're going, what is all this stuff? They keep mentioning baby step 3B and 4 and 7. What is all this about? Well, we made an incredible tool for you at RamseySolutions.com. You can click on the Get Started button, and we will help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. We'll give you all the tools and resources we can to help you along this journey. All right, so before the break, we were talking to Mitch in Atlanta. Here's the situation. He's in baby step 7. He's got a paid-for home worth $300,000. He's got $23,000 in savings, $6,000 in checking. And he's been a real estate agent for 25 years, but has not done any investing, and he's trying to figure out what is next. Mitch, welcome back. You still with us?
You just nailed it. Yes.
Good.
Yes,
Good summary skills? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
You said your parents have a bunch of property. They have about 13 properties that you would inherit solely?
It'd be me, my brother, my sister. So we're probably looking about maybe $600,000 each, probably.
Worth of property.
At least.
Do you think they would want to sell it, or do they want to keep it and use the cash flow as income?
They've been talking about selling. They've sold one. They bought another one. They just buy and sell, and I don't know. They're 80 and 83 years old, and they just don't want to stop working. They're both really in really good shape. They live close to Nashville too, so that's close to my hometown.
Cool.
But I just don't.
So
know
let's
what
find a
to do
plan
now.
for Mitch aside from whatever happens later down the line. I want to make sure that you know what to do in the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Yes. Yeah.
So on one side, financially, we've got to get you investing. You're at a great place to do it because you have no debt, including a mortgage payment. And so there's a lot of options for real estate agents. Number one, you can look into IRAs. Roth IRA is going to be a great option for you. And you can look into, are you self-employed, no employees?
Self-employed.
Okay.
Yes.
You can also look into a SEP IRA, which is for self-employed folks that have no employees, and you can contribute up to 25% of your income, which is incredible comparatively to a lot of other investing options.
Okay.
So those are two options right off the bat that I can think of. Solo 401ks are also an option. I would connect with a SmartVestor Pro at RamseySolutions.com who can walk you through all of the options for your specific situation.
Do I look pretty good on paper with my age and no debt? I mean,
yes.
Where do I stand?
Well,
I don't
You
know.
need more income.
As far as retiring tomorrow, you'd have nothing to live off of. And so that's the only concern. You're in a great spot financially compared to the rest of America. And so the goal right now is to get you a little nest egg to create some cash flow so that when you want to retire 10 years from now and not have to work, you're able to do that.
So a second job is what I need to do, I think.
Well, I'm going to push you on that. I
You're
don't know if
pushing
you
on that,
need
yeah.
a second job. I think you need either to do better in your job or get a better job. And I'm not in any way criticizing you, but I lived in the Atlanta area for 11 years. And a real estate agent who's only making $50,000 a year in the Atlanta area either doesn't want to make much more than that or doesn't really like it, and there's something that's kind of holding you back from really getting after it.
How many homes did you
just
sell
nailed it.
in 2022?
Hold on a second. I want to get the answer there. So I just nailed it. What did I nail?
Because I've done it for 25 years, and people are just not the same as they used to be, and dealing with the public, people are just mean. They're just mean people out there, and I'm just having a hard time dealing with people's attitudes and everything else.
Okay, so that's what's keeping you from getting after it. There's not much to encourage you to get out there and kill something and drag it home.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, so that's because you're not really wired for this. I don't know that people are any more rude or than they were 20 years ago. It's a tough business to get out there and put yourself out there because it's got a lot of rejection associated with it if you don't get people listing with you or people buying from you. And I think you're in the wrong business.
Cars are my passion. Real estate used to be my passion.
What do you need when you say cars are your passion? What do you mean? Flipping them, renovating them, mechanics? What are we talking about?
I have a car channel on YouTube, and I just love finding cars and saving them from being crushed or whatever.
What do you do with them when you save them?
Well, I've helped people. I found how people will call me, and I have tried to find cars for people, and I've done that a lot lately, but I don't make any really money off that, but I just like finding these, especially Jaguars and Trans Ams. I just love these cars, and I want to save as much as I can. And me saving a car.
All right. So while I love that, we're beginning to see something that fires you up. Okay. So you love restoration, renovation. That there's something there. Mm-hmm. So you need to get into that type of business. You've got to be making money, and real estate's. I mean, again, you can get over this and kind of bite the bullet and start getting more active. And I would recommend that for the next however many months it's going to take for you to get clear on what it is you really want to do and what you may have to do to get qualified to do it. But if you just started like flipping cars and getting serious about it, you may have to sell a house or two and take some of that commission and put it towards, now I'm going to go buy a car. I'm going to buy a car for $5,000 or $6,000. That with about $3,000 to $6,000 of work, I can sell it for $20,000. All right.
The profit you just said exactly what I'm wanting to do.
Then do it. Do it. Because here's the deal. You should be highly motivated right now because you're not making enough money. Mitch, you should be making six figures or more. But to get you to six figures is all about getting serious. And I think you've got a highly, highly motivated cause right now, which is I need to get busy funding my retirement. I've done some good things. I've lived on less than I make. I have no debt. That's all great. But now it's about income. You need to do something that makes your heart swell, brother.
I appreciate. You're right.
What's going on?
You're right.
What's going on? Where's this emotion coming from? What's going on?
I'm just tired. I'm just tired of getting out there and doing the best I can, but I keep getting, it don't seem to be working out.
It's not working out. It's not working out because it's actually not your best, and it's not because you're lazy. It's because you got yourself into a role that's just not a good fit for you. It's why I teach. We are on purpose, Mitch. We are doing what we were born to do when we use what we do best, that's talent, to do something we love, that's passion, to produce results that matter to us, and you've never had that. So your soul...
I used to be on fire. I used to be.
When was it?
Not now.
What were you doing when you were on fire?
I was really loving what I did. The thing I love to do is find homes for people that need a home. I love being a part of their new adventure and their new life.
Well, something changed, so we don't need to recycle what we've talked about so far, but you can regather that. Maybe you should start looking for the people that really need the extra help, people that are looking for a house that they don't know where to find it. Maybe it's lower income, or but you need to get some juice, man. And you need to think about the cars and all of that, but start doing something that you love, that you look forward to when you get out of bed, not something you're worried about dealing with. And that's what's going on. That's why you're exhausted to the point of emotional.
You're nailing it right on the head. Everything you're saying is exactly what I thought. Actually, I knew it. I just need to hear it.
You needed a push. You needed a push. There is work that you were put on this planet to do, and there are people on the other side of that work, Mitch, and you need to reconnect with your heart. and work that fires you up because you look forward to it, you enjoy it, and it produces a result that gives you satisfaction and significance. George,
I love this.
There's he's literally emotionally drained because it's been so long.
He thinks it's too late.
But it's been so long since he got up and finished a day of work where he felt good about himself. That's a heavy weight.
Absolutely. Hey, Mitch, I want to send you Ken's book, From Paycheck to Purpose, as well as his Get Clear Career Assessment. I think those two resources are going to help you step into this next chapter of your life. Call it an encore career, but you're not done, Mitch. You've got a lot of contribution to make in this world, and I'm excited to see you step into that with no debt. What a great place to start. Thank you for the call, brother. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman this hour. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. Let's talk about your career, your work, your purpose, your life, your money. We are here for you. Now, Ken, we just talked to a guy named Mitch, and it was more of a purpose call than a financial call, and I gifted him the Get Clear Career Assessment. We didn't have time to get into what that even is, but it's such a helpful tool for folks like Mitch who are going, what I'm doing, it ain't it, and I'm not sure what the next thing is.
Yeah, so what is the Get Clear Assessment? It is a 20-minute or less assessment, 15 to 20 minutes. We do the hard work by asking you specific questions that will give you answers that reveal to you what you do best. Think of your talent, your strengths as tools. So you get a detailed report on your top talents. Then you get a detailed report on your top passions. We use the word passion in this assessment to describe work you love to do. You look forward to it, and when you're in the middle of it, time seems to disappear. And then the final report you'll get in the assessment is your top missional result. In other words, what motivates you? What results do you want to put into the world? And so then we put it all together in a purpose statement that allow you to have a high-level job description of essentially what is your sweet spot, this role that you were created to fill. And here's the good news. It'll lead to many different career paths. It could be many different types of jobs. But in one purpose statement and then the deep dive of the report that you get, you're going to be able to know what you do best, what you love to do, and what results matter to you. And it becomes essentially, George, a 30,000-foot view of the world at work for you that would give you meaning and allow you to make money. So it's a great resource. You can get it at RamseySolutions.com. It's called the Get Clear Career Assessment, and it will give you clarity. And here's what I know, George. When a person is clear, they are confident. And when a person is confident, they can be courageous when life throws things at them, whether they're trying to win financially, win relationally, or professionally. So that's why we created it. It's a wonderful gift to someone, maybe that kid who's getting ready to graduate this year. It works for students, college students, husbands that are stuck, wives that are feeling like, oh, I want to come back into the workforce maybe. What would I do? It's a wonderful application. So check it out, the Get Clear Career Assessment at RamseySolutions.com.
Love it. All right, let's get to the phones. Robert awaits us in my hometown of Boston, Massachusetts. Robert, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you guys?
We are doing great. How can we help?
Thanks for taking my call. So I'm 23 years old, and I just paid off my student loans in 1 year, which is $27,000.
Way to go.
Thank you. So I have an IT job right now. I'm making $70,000 a year, and with that, I get a 401k and a 4% company match, so I put 10% in right now, and I think that's looking pretty good. But so I live at home with my parents rent-free right now, and I pay all my expenses, and I have no debt other than at all, actually. So I'm thinking of doing house hacking. It's to move out eventually in a couple of years, and I was wondering how I should get started with that, and what do you guys think I need to save for that?
How much do you have in savings right now?
I have about $10,000 left over after paying all my student loans and stuff.
Okay, so let's call that your emergency fund.
Yeah,
Okay. And you're investing 10%. What does the company match?
4%.
Well, if you're following the baby steps, are you a new listener to the plan?
Relatively.
Okay. So you would be what we call baby step 4, which is invest 15% of your income into retirement. So if I'm in your shoes, I'm bumping that up. At 23 years old with no debt and some money in the bank, you're in such an incredible financial position. And you're wondering, well, where does home ownership fall into this? Well, that would be baby step 3B is what we call that, saving up for that down payment on a house. And you can do this your own way when it comes to 3B and 4. Some people like to invest all 15% and keep saving for the down payment. Some people bring their investing down to nothing to save for that down payment more aggressively. So in your shoes, you're young. You could do that in order to create some more margin, but I wouldn't touch that $10,000. Let's call that savings for emergencies. So now the next goal is, how much is the house that you are looking to buy, this duplex?
I haven't found anyone in particular, but I'm thinking around $200,000 to $400,000. That'd be my range.
Have you actually found duplexes for sale in the Boston area in that range?
Like ones that need renovations, and they're fixer-uppers.
It doesn't sound like you're going to have money for renovations. Because your plan is, I'm going to live on one side and the renter is going to live in the other, and they're going to magically pay my mortgage. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
What are the values of duplexes in these areas? I mean, do they hold their value?
Typically, because in the Boston area, it's very hard to get housing.
Okay.
I imagine there's people, duplexes are in high demand because of this idea that you're talking about. So I don't know that you're going to find a deal on a duplex unless it needs a lot of renovations. And man, at 23 with no money, that is a dangerous scenario. Because what happens when the tenant doesn't pay on time? Oh, and by the way, they live next door. And so anytime something happens, they're knocking on your door because they know the landlord lives next door.
Oh, that's awful.
And so I would just tread with caution. I know this is big advice on TikTok on the financial side of, hey, just house hack. It's so easy. You can make so much money. But man, it is so much more complicated than that, and it can be very risky.
Is that what house hacking is? I wasn't going to ask, but now I don't care.
That's the idea.
I don't know what
Robert,
it means.
did I sum it up well as to what house hacking is?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what
you get
it
a
is.
duplex, 4 family, and you live in one unit, and you rent out the other ones, which then ideally pays for your mortgage and then some.
Do you want to live with your renters? That's a really, boy, you ought to do that on the talk, George, because I think that would get some views for you.
Nobody wants my opinion there because they're all wanting to make money, Ken. They don't want to hear
But they're not thinking about living next door to their renters. And when something goes wrong, guess what?
Absolutely.
And what happens if you don't get back to them fast enough and they got anger issues?
Well, when the HVAC goes out,
I could go on and on.
It's on you to fix and you to pay for. And so that's what worries me, Robert, is it sounds like you're looking to put as little down to get into this thing as possible on a 30-year in order to get the renter to pay the other side.
Yeah.
And so our housing advice is a 15-year fixed-rate mortgage because we want you in debt for as little time as possible, and where the payment is no more than a quarter of your take-home pay. And so if you can do that, and without having a tenant involved, then I would say you're financially ready to get that duplex or buy a house. And that might mean you need to save up, 40% as a down payment instead of 5% in order to make those numbers work. But it's not to be, super fundamental and go, you're doing it wrong if you don't do it this way. It's because of risk.
Yeah.
And all you see on paper is upside if you can just crunch the numbers. But reality is a whole lot different.
Yeah. So, Robert, let me flip this. If you knew that you could buy a home that only you lived in and you could pay it off quickly and then reap the benefits of that very sound investment much later in life, would you choose that or the housing hack idea?
Well, I was always thinking that I could use the housing hack idea as an investment in the future, where when I'm 30, I can move out of that and have those two being rented and then buy a house after that. But I do like the idea of maybe being able to pay off my own house a lot quicker.
Yeah, then buy another house. But the point is you skip the whole idea where you're a landlord.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a landlord. You just want to make money wisely. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So maybe we start looking at, hey, let's get a condo for Robert that he can live in. Maybe you want to get a roommate. Maybe you get a 2-bedroom condo and you can get a roommate. But I wouldn't go investing in real estate until you've got a paid-for house yourself and you're at a different place financially. And there's no rush. Man, you're 23. Who cares if you get into this at 33 or 43? Everyone feels like I'm too late, Ken, if I don't get into it. There's an 18-year-old on TikTok who got started and now he's making millions. Man, I think we got to get off social media for a while.
I got a phrase for you. Stop with the housing hacks. Stay with the housing facts.
Wow. Robert, are you going to tweet that?
Nothing says middle-aged man like that.
Yeah.
They don't like that on the talk.
No one likes that.
Yeah, but it's a fact.
It's true. Well,
It is, yeah.
Robert, I hope that helps. I know I didn't want to stomp on your parade there and rain on it, but I've just seen too many situations where it doesn't go according to plan like it did on paper, and the TikTok said it was going to be easy and it would always work out, and life is just messy, man. So the best thing you can do is walk into this thing with patience, with wisdom, and with more money than you think you need, because it's expensive.
Speaking of life hacks, I got one for you folks, all you youngsters out there. I still haven't met anybody that got rich off of TikTok advice.
Ooh. That hurt people's feelings, Ken.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're watching out there.
Oh, boy.
Well, hey, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to Ken Coleman and all the folks in the booth keeping the show alive, and you, America. Thank you for listening. We will be back real soon. Hey, George Camel here. If you love the show and you want a deeper dive on your money journey, we've got a weekly newsletter that gives you helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for the newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm your host, George Camel, joined this hour by my good friend Ken Coleman, and we're taking your calls about life, money, work, purpose, career, you name it, at this number, 888-825-5225. Jaron kicks us off in St. Louis. Jaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How can Ken and I help?
Well, me and my wife have been trying to do this baby step thing. This is the third time now we're doing it. We've been debt free 2 other times, but we're having trouble this time with condensing all of our money that we're making, all of our excess money, and putting it all towards our debts, because now that we've got some extra cash, we know that we can obviously here and there, nickel and dime, soda here, maybe a soda there, and we can't just keep to the budget at all.
So you said you've become debt-free 2 times, but you keep going back into debt?
Yeah, we didn't do it the hard way. We did it the easy way with income taxes on tax returns. That's how I got our debts paid off. And now we're in a bigger debt snowball.
How much debt do you have?
Now we know we have to. I don't remember total here and there, but I know that like auto, we have $28,000 for one vehicle, $86,000 for another vehicle, a personal loan at $54,000, and then another personal loan at probably about $22,000.
For what? What are these loans for?
Well, 2 vehicles we have, and then one personal loan is our AC and our furnace went out over the summer, so we had to get a new one. And then the $22,000 personal loan is for my mom for helping us out last year when I got laid off from the whole COVID thing. And so she helped us keep our house and everything else. So we just eventually owe her some money that obviously doesn't collect interest. But
what's your income, household?
Take home is about $5,000, give or take a couple hundred.
You both working?
Yes, she works part-time and I work full-time.
So you guys are making $60K?
Yes, roughly.
And you have $110,000 in car loans?
No.
2 personal loans in addition to the car
loan. But you said
loan.
28 on one vehicle and 86 on another. You mean 8,600?
No, yeah, 8,600. I'm sorry,
you
8,600.
scared me to death, Jaron.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
There's no freaking way
I about
that's going to happen.
had an aneurysm. Okay, we're good.
Well, you say no freaking way, like we might be a little nervous. You got, best I could tell, close to 70 grand or not more in personal loans.
I would die.
Well, you've got
You're drowning now.
37 in car loans, and you got another 76 in personal loans.
Yeah.
So we're talking 110 total in consumer debt, making 60K.
And we're not able to stick to a budget. Is that both of you equally?
This is not coming down to you wanting to buy a soda. These are big decisions you guys have made.
Yeah. We've been trying to pay off our debts for the past couple of years, but it's just my income was steady. We weren't making any extra, but now that I doubled my income this year.
What's your
And
income?
we've got all this extra. My income now, I bring home about $4,000 a month instead of the $2,000 a month I was bringing home.
What do you do?
I'm a truck driver.
How long you been doing that for?
Off and on since 2014, I think it is. But I just got back into the business in November because I can listen to your all show and focus.
Are you over the road?
No, I'm home every night.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your opportunity for growth
wondering.
there?
Yeah, being in the business 8 years, can you go make more as a truck driver elsewhere?
No, not really. Not in my area.
Are you sure about that? Because this off the top of my head, I always see huge bonuses. Companies are desperate for drivers these days.
I'll give you an idea what George is talking about. I shared an article on the Ken Coleman Show not too long ago about Walmart hiring in the 110,000 range for drivers.
Oh, yeah, they say they're hired for that, but I've applied everywhere. But since I haven't actually driven over the road in the past year and a half, they say that I can't drive for them, so they don't want me. So
what do you need to do in order to be qualified?
Drive over the road what I'm doing for about a year and a half.
Okay. Well, you need to get busy then. When you're not driving, you need to be working extra hours, another 30 hours minimal. You've got to bring in some more income right now. And your wife needs to think about full-time job, if not for very long, but just a short season to get some momentum here.
What's the car worth?
Yeah.
The one that has 28,000 left on it.
Well, we got it for 26, and then after tax, sales tax, and everything's 28, but it's worth 28.
Okay. How much money do you guys have in the bank?
We have 1,000 in our emergency fund, and then we have about that. We've done baby step loan, which is $1,000, and then we've already paid off our first debt, which was a medical bill, and that's all we've got right now.
Okay. I'm wondering if we stack up cash to buy a beater car and we sell this car and we clear 28 grand just like that.
Okay, yeah, the only reason I got it was so that I could get out of the house to get to work in case it snows in the Midwest.
You can get out of the house with a beater car.
Drive.
They go the same places as $28,000 cars, turns out. And they're out there.
Jaron,
if you go to
you need
Auto
a
Trader.
$5,000 car. You sell the 20. What's your car payment on the 28?
$429 a month.
Imagine if you had that back in your budget to then put on other debts, how much quickly you'd begin to pay stuff off. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Sell the car.
It's got to go right now. It's a lot of your world tied up in cars.
Yep.
And so
I figured since both payments were about half of my yearly net take home.
the payment doesn't matter. They'll get you on a $100 payment. They don't care. They'll just stretch it out until you die at 8% interest. They don't give a rip. And I care about the balance because that's what it's going to take to get this payment out of your life. And so that's what you got to do, man. And as far as the budget goes, I'll gift you Every Dollar Premium, which will connect to your bank. It'll make it easier to track all those transactions. There's a paycheck planning tool in there where it'll show you exactly when your bills are due, when you would run out of money. It helps you figure out what I need to move around in order to do this. But Jaron has to be a part of this, and your spouse has to be a part of this going, we are not going to spend money that is not reflected in the budget. And if we go over, that's it. Once the money's out, it's out. And cash envelopes are a great way to do this, Jaron, where you say, all right, $300 for groceries. We're going to get $300 in cash from the ATM and put it in an envelope. Once the $300 is gone, it's out. And we've got to figure something out. But that's part of the reason people are successful with the budget, is because they treat it like gospel. This is what we planned. This is what we're going to set out to do. And we did it. You've got to track every dollar. No more random stops. No more eating out. We got to clean up this 6-figure mess. And it's going to take spending less and making more. And if you do both of those things, you can become debt-free within a few years, my friend. Hang on the line. Austin's going to pick up. We will gift you 1 year of Every Dollar Premium. Call us back if we can help along the way. This is The Ramsey Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org/budget.
We absolutely believe in it.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman this hour. So many of you are asking this year, building wealth in this economy in 2023, can it be done? We keep hearing that question. We get your confusion. There's so much noise out there right now with inflation and layoffs and interest rates, and you deserve answers. And we are coming to a city near you with the Building Wealth live event tour. Dave Ramsey and all of us Ramsey personalities will be hitting the road this spring to see you live in person. And at each event, we're going to dig into all of these hot topics and give you a proven plan to build wealth and keep it even in this economy. Tickets are moving fast, so if you've been thinking about joining us, don't miss your chance. We're coming to Indianapolis, February 16th, Austin, Texas on February the 23rd, Salt Lake City on April the 24th, and Anaheim, California on May 2nd. Tickets start at just $49, or you can get a 4-pack of tickets starting at $175. Bring some friends, bring some family. It's going to be a good time. RamseySolutions.com/events is the place to go to reserve your seats today.
What's up, Austin? What's up, Anaheim? Me and Dr. John Deloney will be out on that trip.
And Rachel Cruz and I are Team Indianapolis and Salt Lake City. So let's in case you're wondering.
Let's get more support in those two cities so that we can trash talk George and Rachel.
It's not a competition, Ken.
Well,
but we'll smoke you in a heartbeat.
I like it.
No, I'll miss you on the road.
Don't say that those millennials are snowflakes. They got some fight in them.
That's right, we do.
Way to go, George.
Well, I'll miss you on the road, Ken.
Yeah.
We always have a good time.
Yeah, we do have a good time. But those events, by the way, great energy.
Great crowds. And you and Dr. John do a fantastic pre-show that's kind of a secret bonus, but it's become a highlight for many of the attendees.
Come early and you get a bunch of free content and lots of tears, lots of high fives, lots of laughs.
I love it. Yeah. RamseySolutions.com/events is the place to go.
Who's up next, George?
Let's go to Frank. He's been waiting in Phoenix patiently. Frank, welcome to the show. Frank, are you there?
Oh, hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. Sorry about my phone. I'm doing a Dave Ramsey's thing of driving a beater car, applying it to a smartphone, so it's not very good.
You got the beater smartphone.
You got a beater smartphone.
It's what I got.
You sound fantastic.
Well, thank you. I'm in a quandary, and I want your advice on this. I'm 58 years old, never financed anything in my life. I've got a pretty good job here, and the car that I had 8 months ago started breaking down. I mean, every week was another $1,000, getting to the point my dependability at work was in question. So I ended up going to a dealership and getting into the most horrible deal. I had no idea. What I understood is that I was buying a $15,000 car at 24% interest for $19,800. I agreed to that. They said I can make payments early to pay off the principal, and I just work like a gazelle, right, and pay it off. Well, that's not the case. It turns out I called the finance company about 3 days after taking possession of the car, and it said, "No, Mr. Reynolds," I said, "Frank, you owe $30,000, not $19,000." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, I didn't agree to this." Well, here's where we're at. So for 7 months, I've been making payments every month, never been late. The total hasn't come down at all, and I'm going nowhere and killing myself on this. The warranty expired. You know, the dealer's 7-year, $100,000, that's gone because of the year. Now, my father has offered to loan me $20,000 for the buyout price of $19,800 or whatever it is. And he's probably going to charge me 6% simple interest. And, well, that would mean that I'm going to end up paying $27,000. Oh, when I blue booked the car, it came up to $10,000, not the $15,000 that they claimed. So I would end up paying $27,000 on a $10,000 car without a warranty. Now, what I'm thinking is offering them $13,000, tell them to apply the $7,000 I've already spent and see if they'll take it. If not, give them the car back.
I don't know if any of it works like that, Frank. What in tarnation? Did you make a deal with the devil? What dealership was this? I might call about myself.
They are the spawn of Satan. They really are. This is the thing is, a week later when I talked to him, the guy even told me he knew I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm like,
dude, you got raked over the coals. How do you even get a car loan for 24% interest?
Well,
how is that legal?
I've never borrowed. Well, I had a roommate that was an attorney once, and there's 3 parts to a contract, and one is what a reasonable person would expect from a deal, and the meeting of the minds. We've got neither one of them.
Oh, boy.
But here's what I'm looking at.
What's your income, Frank? How do we get out of this mess?
I signed it. You know, it's not a bad car. Don't get me wrong.
Well, Frank, okay.
But,
Frank, we got to start breaking this thing down. Okay.
Sure.
What is your income, George asked you?
It depends. I'm hourly and depending. Like this year, we've been rained out a lot. Look at about 55.
What do you do?
Oh, this must be the day of the trucker because I, too, am a local trucker.
Okay.
All right.
Local trucker, hourly wage, and you're making about $55,000 a year.
That's right.
Do you have any other debt?
There's, depending on what the IRS, I may owe them about $4,000, but that may be absorbed through this last tax season. I've got to look how that.
So you may owe some IRS back taxes?
Well, yeah, it's been from 2019, but they only claimed one dependent this year myself, so I should have a refund that will go to that debt.
Okay.
So that might be wiped out.
Other than that, you have no debt. No credit card debt, no personal loans out there, just this car.
I have a credit card, but that's only for emergencies.
Cut it out,
and
Frank.
It's a zero balance on it.
There is no emergency where your money isn't good. And so the goal is for you to cover it.
To get me to work.
Because you know what's going to happen?
To
You're going to get charged 24% interest from the credit card company as soon as you don't play their game perfectly.
Oh, I don't use their honestly, I'm 57. I've never used credit in my life.
Then cut it up.
I don't use that card.
You haven't needed it for 58 years. You don't need it now.
All right, we got to get rid of this car.
Yeah,
so what is the car worth?
I want out of this
Have
car.
you done good homework on what the car is actually worth today?
10.5.
And you owe what? There were so many numbers flying around. What do you owe?
What is your actual loan currently?
19.8 or 19.6 would be the buyout.
Okay. So this car you are underwater on by a degree of about $9,000.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. How much money do you have in the bank?
Maybe the $1,000 emergency after the first, with this round of rent, utilities, and all that.
Are you single?
Car payment. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Where is all of your money going? You make $55K. You've got the $1,000 emergency fund. Where's your monthly income going outside of the car payment?
Oh, honestly, I am a zealous listener of your program. fact, just read the book Total Money Makeover. A lot of it went to repairs in the previous car. You add in rent of, well, it's $1,250 a month.
Frank, do you think you could go to a credit union today and get a $9,000 loan?
I don't think so. I've never applied for a loan.
Okay. Here's the way out of this, Frank. I'm not going to go into debt with Dad at 6% and move this money around. Here's the best plan. You need to save up and get a beater car. You need to borrow one from a friend. If you've got a local church community, see how cheaply you can get a reliable car and save up that amount.
I own a car outright. Okay.
You have another car?
I paid.
What's that car doing? Where is that car?
Whole reason I got into this is because
Frank,
every
where's the other car?
Sir, let me explain.
We have 30 seconds. We got a commercial we got to get to.
I got you.
Use the other car. Sell the car today.
It's not dependable.
It doesn't matter.
It's not dependable.
Well, sell that one and get something that is dependable. But going $30,000 into debt at 24% interest is not the path out of this thing. So you need to go to the credit union, get the difference you need to pay that loan off, to sell the car, and drive that beater until you're out of this mess. Woo! That was an entertaining doozy, Ken. Love talking to Frank, but man, I need a break.
I'll get you some Tums.
We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
This is The Ramsey Show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You know, Ken, usually I come with the videos to react to, but apparently you've got one for me. I have not seen this. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I've got a video off the talk. I shortened TikTok to say talk.
That somehow made it worse.
Well, it irritates my teenagers as well. So I bring that to you because I know you're equally irritated. But yeah,
anything you need to tell me about this video?
No. Well, this is a video that went viral, and this is a warning video. And I shared this on the Ken Coleman Show earlier today, and this could be relevant for a lot of our listeners and viewers. So let's play it, then we'll comment on it.
A day in my life getting laid off at Google. So I woke up to this really ominous text from my boss, and I honestly had no idea what it was going to be about. So I called her the minute I woke up and saw this, and she told me to check the news and my email. So I rushed downstairs to find out that I had lost access to basically everything. I couldn't log into my email or even check my calendar. I called my boss back, and we just sobbed over the phone because she was also finding out about my layoff for the first time today too. I started getting calls from a bunch of my coworkers and started finding out who else was let go on my team and some neighbors teams as well. But I think the worst part is that it seems like no one was consulted on this decision and everyone was just finding out about the layoffs at the same time. It just felt like a really bad game of Russian roulette, and there was no consistency around who was let go. It was also not performance-based, so it just felt really random.
Okay, so There you go. Now, in the news. It came out on Friday of last week, George. Google laid off about 12,000 employees, which is about 6% of their global workforce. This is across product areas, functions, different product areas, functions, levels, and regions. According to CEO Sundar Pichai, if you say it that way, I think it is. I think I'm hooked on phonics. That this is a result of Google hiring too quickly and couldn't keep all its staff on the current economic reality. But here's why I showed that video on the Ken Coleman Show and why we show it here, George. Anytime that you hear talk of recession, and we're seeing larger companies laying off people, more expected to be announced this week, a lot of tech companies laying people off, and this is happening more and more. This is a young lady who finds out about the layoffs when she sees the news and she wakes up. She calls her direct leader, who says, well, let's get online and figure this out together. I don't know if you've been laid off or not. Yikes. She goes downstairs to get on her laptop and is subsequently locked out. She finds out, I've been locked out overnight. And so her direct leader did not even know that this young lady had been laid off. Now, how does that hit you?
Well, from what I read, I saw a piece that was saying, hey, folks didn't know. If they didn't check their email the night before, they showed up to work, and there was just a line of people checking their fobs, and that's how you figured out.
That's how you found out.
If you can get in the door, you're still employed.
Now,
that's a terrible way to go about this.
Now, folks, the reason we share this is if you are at a company, I don't care how large or small, and you don't have a sense that the leadership values you as an individual, not a unit of production, then you need to start paying attention. Because leaders like this, and this is Google, and they think they're too big for it to really have a negative impact on them. But I'm going to tell you something. They aren't too big to fall. And this has been a wave of just social media testimonies about them doing this. I've got a Business Insider article right here in my hands. And one engineer shares a story of being at Google for 20 years. An engineer for 20 years, and he was laid off via email. No face-to-face conversation. Here's a couple more. This is the worst. Another guy says that he went in at 4 a.m. This is Dan Russell, research scientist, said on LinkedIn, I found out when I went to work at 4 a.m. to finish up an important analysis, and my badge didn't work. The guy's going in at 4 a.m. to work. And his badge doesn't work. 17 and a half years at Google gone. Elizabeth Hart, a senior marketing manager on Google's global ads team, said she woke up early Friday morning and saw a notification that her corporate access had expired, along with an email with the New York Times link to the article about Google laying people off.
Oh, man.
So Google is big enough, savvy enough to know that they're going to have to lay people off. There's no excuse for not having a real person sit down with them, eyeball to eyeball, knee to knee, and explain what's going on and have some sense of compassion. But let me tell you what it is, George. It's about a checklist. We got to lay off 12% of our 12,000 people, 6% of our workforce. We don't have time to do it this way. This is how we're going to do it. And you know what? We're Google. We'll just get another batch of young people coming out of college. And I'm going to tell you something. This is eventually going to catch up to companies.
Well, you lose the guy who had 20 years experience, and you hire the guy who's just jumping into this thing.
Well, you make a very good point. Not only do you lose him, you treat him so harshly that he leaves with a bunch of institutional knowledge that you don't even know what he knows and what he's taken with him. It's bad business.
Yeah.
Forget bad human behavior. It's bad business behavior. So all that to say,
well, and these publicly traded companies, Ken, a lot of them are just beholden to the shareholders.
That's 100%.
It's all about the stock price.
100%.
Whatever they got to do to make the shareholders happy, and therefore people become a unit of production, which is sad.
So you want to know why there's an anti-work movement?
Why is that?
This kind of nonsense. You treat people like they aren't humans. You treat them like they are just a number on your spreadsheet. They start to believe that. You know why quiet quitting is a phenomenon? Because of crap like this. Leaders not valuing people. And when you would just keep treating people like units of production, you don't care for them, you don't treat them like they've got a heart, like they've got emotions, then you're going to have a revolt. And this just continues to happen. So we're going to shine the light on it here at Ramsey Solutions because we care about people here. We care about our team. We care about you. And you can work in a place that values you. You better get to one of those places, because I'm telling you, if you're not in a place that values people, even if they have to lay you off, okay, in a place where they care about you, they'll treat you well.
That's true. And thankfully, Ramsey has never had to lay anyone off in the history of this place, which is pretty amazing. And it speaks to how much they value people.
So just bad behavior.
So, Ken, a lot of people I see on their LinkedIn, it says, hashtag open to work. What do people do in a case where they were just laid off, or they could potentially be laid off any minute? What would you suggest they do on the career side?
Okay, well, first thing is this is a really rough rejection. So you need to grieve this. You need to understand that while it may not be personal, it feels personal. So let's go get it out of our system. Friends, family members, if you got to cry some, fine. The point is, let's own it, that it sucks, that it hurts. And then after we've gotten that out of our system, that it feels that way, we got to then step back into reality that it does not hurt your future. A lot of people have been laid off. People get laid off all the time. And there are still a lot of opportunities. And so you get back up on the horse, and the way you do that is, I'm going to make connections. I hope that you have connections laid out way in advance. When you get on an airplane and the flight attendants come in and they tell you, in case of a water landing, here are your exits, you need to do the same thing if you work for a large company. If you work for a company that may be struggling financially, you don't know what could happen. So what would an exit strategy look like? If a storm came, I can see you in your new home. I'll bet you have a storm shelter. And so you got your flashlight, cool. You got your batteries, you got your water.
I'm going to John Deloney's house if something goes down.
That's not a good idea, because he's just going to put you with the chickens.
That's true.
But the idea is, okay, who are people that I know in my industry that are really well connected? What is a part-time or an Uber type job that I could take on, or two part-time jobs?
You might have to swallow your pride and go, what do I need to do right now to bring an income?
Well, this gets back to, George, you and what Dave and Rachel teach about the budget. If I know my four walls budget, then what are some jobs that I know that I could probably go get pretty quickly that take care of my four walls? That's what I mean by having an exit strategy. That's temporary until maybe I can then get back into the industry that I want to be in. That's the idea. It doesn't have to be a crisis. We want it to be a nuisance. Big difference.
I like that. And
so the emergency fund.
Yeah, being debt-free and having money in the bank, it changes a layoff drastically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because now it's annoying and frustrating, but it's not devastating. So, man, really pulling for all those folks that are getting laid off around the nation, and it's a wild time. We are hoping the best for you, that you can jump into a new career, and Ken's advice is spot on. This is not the end. This does not define you. It will refine you if you let it. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined this hour by Ken Coleman. Hey, if you like this show, there's only one thing I would ask of you. Again, the show is free, and what I'm asking you to do is free. Consider subscribing, leaving a review wherever you're listening, and sharing this show with a friend. We want to spread the impact and affect more people this year with our money message, our career message, mental health, relationships. There's so many problems out there in the world, and we want to help solve them. And this show is a part of that. And the way you do that is you share it with friends who need to hear it, and word of mouth goes a long way. Appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, who doesn't like this show? I
don't know why they're listening.
I'm unaware of this.
It's strange to waste your time listening to a show you don't like. Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Speaking of things you like or don't like, what do you think about my sweater today, George?
I'm a fan. I like the chunky Donegal look, Ken.
Now I regret asking you. I don't know what any of that means.
Well, we'll get you there.
All right.
Just Google it.
Okay.
Let's go to Shannon up next in Austin, Texas. Shannon, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I have career-changing questions. About 3 years ago, right before COVID, I retired from over 30 years in education. I've been a teacher, a principal, even a director at like the central office level.
Awesome.
And I left that job because it just wasn't a good situation. But I left it for another job. I was able to retire, so I had my retirement, my pension income. And I left to be a director at a day school, which because of COVID ended up closing in early 21. So since then, I have just kind of been working a couple of part-time jobs. Plus, I have about $5,400 a month coming in from my pension. But I feel like I need to be doing something else. When I retired, I was only 54. I'm 57. I'll be 58 this year. So I've had time since like 21, about a year and a half, to just kind of be in this kind of flux state. But I'm not really sure what I want to do next.
Yeah.
I don't know if the easy thing is, yes, go back to education. But I'm not really sure what I want to do next.
All right. So let me ask you, when you really loved it, when teaching was good, what did you love most about it?
Making a connection with the kids, and then as a principal, making a connection with the staff and the teachers, and just being able to positively bring about change.
Nice. And what kind of change? So I understand the connection part. You would do that through communication and instruction. But the change that most excited you, describe that just a little bit more.
Just being able to help somebody get from a place where they weren't able to read or to understand something, and then they were able to do that, or to help a teacher, develop their skill set so they were even a better teacher, or bringing staff together so that they were developing their own leadership and, that kind of thing.
All right. That's beautiful. So this is what I heard.
Okay.
The change that most motivates you, that gives you the juice, as I like to say, is where you take someone from where they are to where they want to be, whether it's a kid struggling with math, that's your jam. Am I right?
Okay. Yes.
All right. So I think that you do that through instruction, or you do that through leadership, and I'm talking functionally. Okay.
Right.
So when we look at potential jobs and positions, for you, it comes down to you've got to be in the role of instructor, leader, advisor. And these aren't job titles. I'm just talking about a role. Because if you're spending most of your day doing that, that's a good day for you. True or false?
Yes, very true.
Yeah. So that's what you're looking for. But it does not have to be in a traditional educational environment. I mean, if you look at the world at work right now, you're wildly qualified to be a trainer.
Well, but I guess, yes, and I don't know how to make that leap. And I also have kind of like a little confidence problem.
That's what's going on. That's what's going on. It's not that you don't know how to make the leap. It's that you doubt that anyone's going to give you a chance in a different field because that's all you've ever done is education.
Right.
I know. So, how do we overcome that doubt? We got to start having conversations. We got to make connections to people who see you as a very experienced educator, a woman who has 30 years of pouring into the lives of others. And on the other side of that, delivering influential, positive change. That's your MO. And so when you start believing that about yourself, you're going to be more confident to have those conversations. But I'm going to give you a copy of my book. The first book I wrote here at Ramsey Solutions was called The Proximity Principle, which says in order to do what Shannon wants to do, she's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. Very simple idea, correct?
Okay, yes.
So there's 5 people and 5 places in the book that will kind of help you begin to visualize and then make direct connections with these people in Austin or around the country if you're open to moving outside of Austin. If you're not, there's certainly a lot of opportunities in Austin, Texas for a woman like you who's got heart and who's got crazy skill and a whole lot of experience. Am I right, Shannon?
Probably, yes.
Oh, come
Shannon, I just gave that big pep talk, and I get a probably.
I know.
Shannon.
Yes, there is. There are things that I could be doing rather than making $13 an hour at 2
Exactly. So here's the deal. You need to start looking at job opportunities today that are around training opportunities, instructional opportunities. I'll give you an example. We hired someone here recently in instructional design for our Ramsey Education Department, a lifelong teacher on the collegiate level or maybe high school level, but the ability to connect with students as we're creating programs.
Right.
My point is if it is training, if it is instruction, if it is advising, if it is guiding, if it is leading, you're qualified for all of that, Shannon.
Okay. I am. You're right. I am.
I know.
There we go.
So now you know what you're looking for. We're not even looking in the education, but now listen, once we look very practically, no more pep talk. Once we begin to see those jobs, then you step back. You've got my book, The Proximity Principle, we'll give to you. You step back and you go, who do I know that knows somebody in this company? Or who do I know that knows somebody in this organization? Or if I don't know anybody that knows somebody, who do I know that knows somebody that knows somebody? And we begin to start to make connections. You start having conversations. And then people meet this unbelievably qualified lady who's got a lot of horsepower and a lot left to give. And they go, man, we'd love to have you over here. We just need to train you on this particular type of training. But you got all the skills, all the experience. We're just going to teach you the language. You see where I'm going here?
Okay.
You are full of doubt. You feel like you've got this imposter syndrome because you don't know what you don't know.
That's true. That's
very
true.
That's your problem, Shannon. You know nothing. So it's big and scary. Am I right, Shannon?
Right.
But if I was your student and I walked in your classroom and I said, Shannon, I don't know anything, what would you say to me?
Well, let's start to see what you do know, because you do know some things.
You're right. And so you do know people in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You do know quality companies. You do know now what to look for, don't you?
Yes.
So then what would you say to me? I'd say, okay, I do know this, Shannon, and I know this, Miss Shannon, I know this. What do I do now? What would you say to me?
You have to just buck up and do it. You have to just start reaching out to people, making the connections, and having the confidence to do that.
The student becomes the teacher. Look at that.
Yes.
Sounds like you should do
And Shannon, what's amazing is that financially, you're not desperate.
Yeah, so you're
not worried about what the paycheck is. Right now, you're looking for what will give me the most purpose and allow me to contribute in the way I want to. And that opens up your options.
I got 2 words for you, Shannon. These are teacher-level words. I'm trying to impress you right now. Picky and persnickety. That's your those are your words.
Okay, there we go.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for calling, Shannon.
We
you got
are rooting for you, pumped for you. That's awesome. All right, that puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to my fabulous co-host, Ken Coleman, and all the guys in the booth. We got Austin, Ben, James, Zach, and Andrew. And you, America, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back before you know it right here on The Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Ken. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pod's Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where America hangs out to have a conversation about your life and your money. I'm Ramsey personality George Campbell, joined by Ken Coleman this hour. The phone number to call is 888-825-5225. This is a show about you and your life and you doing meaningful work and living a debt-free lifestyle and having incredible relationships. That's what we're here to help you do. Joshua kicks us off from New Mexico this hour. Joshua, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Okay, so I'm 24 years old. I work in real estate, my wife's a nurse here, and we have 5 investment properties, and then we have our primary residence. We have 3 vehicles, 2 still have loans on them. And I guess the gist of my question is, should I sell my investment properties to clear pretty much all my personal debt? And I think I'd have about $40,000 left on my personal mortgage.
So how much do you have in consumer debt? You said you have 2 car loans. Anything else?
2 car loans. I have taxes coming up, which I actually didn't save for. I didn't do a very good job. I think I just overspent. We bought a few investment properties this year, and we just overinvested that money.
And
how
much are you going to owe in taxes?
On the way. I'm going to owe about $47,000.
Whoa, that's a whole lot of not paying taxes.
Yeah, it is.
How much are the car loans?
I owe about $55 on my truck, and then $18 on my wife's car.
What's your household income?
Total household income is probably about $320 a year.
Wonderful.
Wow. How much is each car worth? On the 55 truck, how much is the truck worth?
That one's pretty new. It might be worth 54, 53. I'm probably barely under on that one because I barely bought it a few months ago.
Okay, what about the car?
The Camry, that one's worth about 26.
And you owe 18 on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would sell the cars before I would sell the investment properties. It's a whole lot less of a hassle.
Okay.
So if you sold, how much money do you have in the bank?
We have total about $33,000.
Oh, great. Okay. So we have to have money to pay these taxes. Are they due April?
Yeah, I'll probably file an extension. This is the first year I'll probably have to do that. And I guess that was one of my kind of questions also. Would it be smart to maybe set up a temporary payment plan so I can pay them off this year without having to sell, something?
Are you working with a tax pro currently?
Yeah.
Okay. And what has been their advice?
I haven't got advice specifically on this yet because like I said, this is the first year where I didn't do a very good job of saving for it.
I would go ahead and get this out of your life instead of kicking the can down the road. You'll have the money once you sell these cars, and you can get 2 cheaper cars.
Okay. Yeah, well, if I did that, because they don't have a ton of equity, so even if I sold the Camry, I would keep $8,000, and then the truck, I wouldn't make anything probably on that one.
Yeah, right. You could just net zero on that. You'd have $8K plus $32K. That gives you $40K. Okay. And now we still need 2 cars. And so we're going to get 2 very reasonable used cars. They're not going to be fancy like the ones you have right now, but it's temporary.
But George, I'm curious why you say you wouldn't sell at least one of the properties.
You can do that. Do you have a least favorite? One that's giving you the most hassle? Not worth the cash flow?
They've all been pretty solid, actually. I did pretty well on them. But, yeah, there's definitely some I have in mind that I would sell before another.
Do you own all these cash?
No. They all have mortgages. They all cash flow pretty well, and I can run you through the numbers if you wanted to, but they all have mortgages on them.
I'd be curious so George can get the whole picture because I'm not sure why he's not selling all the houses. If you stand to make money on all of them?
Yeah, and so like I said, I can run you through kind of
run through them real quick. Run through. So we have 5 houses or 4?
5 investments and then just my primary.
Okay, yeah, run through them real quick. Are you good with this, George?
Yeah.
So run through house number 1. How much do you owe on it? How much could you sell it for?
Okay, house number 1, I owe about $147, and I could sell it about $255.
Okay, number 2.
House number 2, I owe $145. I could sell it about $235.
Okay.
House number 3, I owe $74. I could sell it about $110.
Okay.
Another one, I owe $112,000. I could sell it about $220.
Whoa. Okay. Last
Another one, I owe $162. That one would probably sell about $212.
And just for fun, your personal house, how much do you owe on your home?
$395.
All right, George, I'm genuinely asking here.
Well,
he's got some serious equity here, and he can clean all of this up.
If you're willing to sell one of the investment properties, it would put you in a much better financial situation. And I might do both. I might sell both cars and sell a rental property to really set you guys up for success. And the thing with the cars is it's a depreciating asset versus the homes, which are going to appreciate at least. I don't love that you went into debt for 5 properties, but it's less risky than, these cars continuing to go down in value that are toys.
Yeah. Well, and my concept was that these cars would last us 10, 15 years down the road that way. We have a kid on the way, which is also why I'm trying to get together financially. And
I'm going to be more aggressive than George. If it's me, I'm selling the houses. I'm cleaning all this up, paying off.
The one you owe $112 on that's worth $220. That would clear 6 figures for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you got nice paid for cars, baby on the way. I'd be super aggressive.
The cars aren't a large part of your world as far as income goes. And so either way, something's got to give. Either we sell one of those properties to clear the car debt, or we sell the cars to clear the car debt.
And so one issue with, and it's not a drastic issue per se, but if I were to sell a car, I would have to, because I depreciated them on my taxes, so I would have to reclaim it and
you'd owe tax money on that.
Yeah, but that's not a reason to stay. It's not a reason to stay in debt. You're going to have the cash to pay your taxes now.
And you got to stay on top of it with these taxes. Is your tax pro helping you do this?
He is, and he's really good. He's been on it. Like I said, this is the first year. We bought 3 investment properties this year alone, or last year alone, I guess. And so with 25% down, we just overspent on investment properties.
Yeah, I'd pump the brakes on the investment guru stuff and work on paying these off. And you may just want to snowball them. And what's your mortgage left on your primary?
$395.
Okay. Yeah, I might snowball some of the smaller properties first and then work on attacking that personal one. And by the end of this, if you keep this up, you'll have a bunch of paid for properties that are cash flowing, no payments in the world, and a whole bunch of money in the bank. I like that plan. But with a baby on the way, nothing will get your butt in gear like a baby coming into the world.
I'd sell them all.
Hey, I'm a fan of Ken's move right there. It'll definitely
sell
help you
every
sleep
one
better
of
at
them.
night.
Knock out as much debt as you can. You eventually are going to get back into it because you know how to do it.
And whatever you have left
cash.
in cash, you have a few $100,000 left over. All right, let's go pay cash for some real estate. Love that plan. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Ken Coleman this hour. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Jesse's up next in Knoxville, Tennessee. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How you fellas doing?
We're doing great. How can we help?
Well, so I'm graduating from college in about 3.5 weeks.
Fun.
And I've been job hunting for the last few weeks, and I'm wondering if I'm being too picky with which jobs I take or look at.
Oh, what is making you feel like you might be being too picky?
I've gotten a couple bites mainly in sales positions, which I'm not particularly interested in anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't imagine myself doing anything like that and not being absolutely miserable, which is the main thing I want to avoid.
That sounds like some self-awareness. Tell me what it is about you that you feel like a sales job would just be awful. What is it?
I am a very brutally honest person,
Mm-hmm.
and in my experience at least, salespeople always kind of have to be like fakely nice or over-exaggerate how good the product is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just something I wouldn't want to do. And
what about the performance side of sales and the kind of the pressure? How's that hit you?
Oh, I think I'd be good at it. But I don't want to. My main fear is being sort of like my parents were, where I come home from work every day and then like just cry myself to sleep because I'm doing something I hate.
There
I want to avoid that.
There we go. Jesse, you're my kind of guy. That's why I work, is to help people find work that they're really good at, that they love. All right, so what do you want to do?
I see, that's the thing. I'm not really particular with what I want to do. I just don't want to do something I hate.
Okay, so you've been in college almost 4 years. You're getting ready to graduate from UT, I'm guessing?
Well, I'm graduating a year early, but
okay.
No, I'm graduating from University of Phoenix.
All right. Oh, okay, gotcha. So you said you're brutally honest, so am I. I don't believe you, and I'm calling you out because I want you to feel the confidence to tell me what it is you're thinking about doing. I don't believe a guy like you, who's as serious as you are, saying some of the heavy things you're saying, doesn't have a couple of ideas, something he's wondered about, but he's just got some fear or he's got some doubt. I don't believe that your mind or your heart is a whiteboard. So what are you thinking about? What's the thing that comes up all the time? Come on, Jesse.
I genuinely don't have one. I've read through your book and everything, and the only thing I could really come up with was fatherhood or maybe game development.
Okay.
But even then, that's super specialized and would take forever. And I know excuses, but
yeah. So you actually answered my question, and you proved that what I said was correct. You think gaming is something that's very interesting, but it feels unattainable for you. It feels like it's not worth all the trouble.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. What about gaming interests you? The function of the work? Is it programming? Coding?
No.
What is it?
No, it's more like design, figuring out how things would work together.
Okay, so something that, let me ask you this. What have you always found that you have been able to do pretty easily? Came easy for you and people complimented you for it? Don't overthink this.
I'd probably like teaching people how to do stuff. I worked in manufacturing for a few years, and though I hated it, I was really good at training people.
Did you
and quality assurance? I actually got the award for QA one time.
Nice. Did you enjoy the training part?
Yeah. I like teaching people how to do stuff.
Okay, there's a clue. There's a clue in the fact that what interests you about video game designing is the design element. Those are all clues. What we've got an example of is something that you're naturally very gifted at, which is communication and connection. That's the training element. And you enjoyed the result of that, seeing somebody's light bulb come on, do it better. You took some satisfaction in that. Those are all clues. And then the design element, that's very interesting. Maybe it's an aesthetic. Maybe it's the analyzing. I'm not sure. But when you're looking for ideas on what to do, and by the way, I'm going to give you my Get Clear career assessment because it's going to pull stuff out of you. But I'm going to venture to say you overthink some stuff. Is that true?
Yeah, probably. I try not to, though.
Yeah, I get it. I'm a recovering overanalyzer myself. But what we want to do is when you're somebody who's overthinking everything, we want to detach the brain and we want to go to the heart. So here's a quick exercise, George. Can we do this on the spot?
Let's do it.
All right, here's the deal. Jesse, you got to answer quickly, no thinking. You ready?
Yep.
Who are the people you most want to help? What comes to mind? Say them. Who are they?
My wife.
Your wife? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
You can't go Hallmark on me. Outside of your wife and the Good Husband Award, who are people in this world you think, I'd like to help these people? What comes to mind when I ask the question?
People who don't know how to handle money.
People who don't know how to handle money. Fantastic. All right. We're going to come at the same problem, different ways. Different question. You ready? What is the problem or desire that they have?
Probably not knowing how to budget, I guess.
Right? Maybe some discipline issues, maybe some bad habits around money. And then finally, what's the solution to people who have money problems that you get most excited about providing?
Seeing their light bulb go on.
Does that have anything to do with training or instructing?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Does it have anything to do with maybe analyzing and designing a plan or a program or a way to connect to them?
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So we got something, right? Now, here's the deal. I want George to weigh in on this too, because he's been around me a long time. George walked a very similar path that I did professionally. He gets this idea of talent, what we do best, passion, what we love, mission, what moves us, what results motivate us. I'm going to give you the Get Clear career assessment when we put you on hold, and my book, From Paycheck to Purpose. You give it to somebody else. I know you've read mine, but I'm going to give it away as a bundle. But I want you to take the assessment and then remember this conversation that we had, because we just walked through some clues. George, any thoughts?
He's spot on right there. I mean, it sounds like he's leaning towards some level of financial coaching, maybe on the side.
Or certainly being an advisor, a financial advisor, maybe teaching, financial curriculum,
And the next step, I'd go, do I know anyone who'd let me just shadow and just pick their brain over coffee and see what they do and just see if that stirs you up?
Yeah, I mean, you could be a smart Vestor Pro down the line, and train and guide people. You could teach on the collegiate level. You could teach on the high school level. You could go work for a company and in HR and bring in our Smart Dollar program and be the person that leads that. But there are some themes here, Jesse, that you've got to pay attention to. And what we just did for people that are brand new to the show, and like, what is this guy doing? When you're trying to figure out what it is you want to do with your life professionally, don't miss that there is this emotional component to work. Love, in other words, relationships, and work, our occupational life, they share the same result. It's about serving others. People that are happy in their work, it's not about their paycheck. But a fat paycheck makes me happy. But it's never just about that. It's about the contribution. I feel like I'm serving people. I'm making a difference in the world, George.
Well, there's something about the education system. As Jesse's talking, I'm going, what a broken education system where people get out of this whole thing after doing it for, 18 years. Yeah. And they're going, I have no clue. Yeah. And so that part frustrated me for Jesse.
Yeah.
That he spent all this money in school, got a degree, and is still walking out going, no one prepared me for what's next, which tells me there's some personal responsibility and that the education system needs some overhaul.
So now watch what happened with Jesse. This was really cool. So he's presenting on this phone call. He's going, Ken, I literally have no ideas at all. I knew he did, but we went back a little bit. What always came easy for you? Like, if for those of you out there that feel like you have no idea what you want to do, you're trying to figure out, begin to look at who you are. So what if people always complimented you on doing, or it came easy for you? You saw somebody else struggle in school in this thing, and you were like, this is easy for me. We're just getting to, I'm talented here, and there's going to be a connection between what I do well, talent, and something that I enjoy. In fact, we humans, George, don't like to do anything that we suck at.
That's true. It's only fun for a little bit, and then you go, it's not fun when it's really difficult forever.
I mean,
That's why I don't golf.
That's why George doesn't golf. He's abysmal. Absolutely abysmal.
But I did beat you at mini golf one time, and I still hold it over your head.
There's a backstory on that. That's probably a separate episode.
The front story is I beat you at mini golf.
Yes,
you
did. That's all you care about. Hey, Jesse, hang on the line. We've got the Get Clear Career Assessment, which is going to get inside your head and your heart and give you some confidence and some clarity.
Love it. Hey, more of your calls coming up. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel here with Ken Coleman. This is The Ramsey Show. We're here for you, America. Well, guys, if you're wondering, maybe you're looking to buy or sell a home this year and you're not sure about this housing market, well, here's what I'll tell you. There's still more demand for homes than there are homes to buy. The median home price is expected to keep rising, but at a slower rate. And interest rates likely aren't going to stop going up. So what does it mean for you? Well, if you're buying a home, you're still going to face some competition and big price tags. And if you want to sell your home, chances are you can still make a nice profit, but you have to be patient for the right offer to come your way. And of course, this depends on where you are. Every market is going to be wildly different. And it's why you need to work with an experienced real estate agent when you're ready to start this home buying or selling process. You want someone who's done this hundreds of times before and knows how to negotiate a strong deal based on the current market. And you can find those agents, we call them Ramsey Trusted Endorsed Local Providers, on our website. These are the top performing agents around the country who we trust to serve you well. If you want to connect with one of those agents, just go to RamseySolutions.com/agent. That's RamseySolutions.com/agent. Micah joins us up next in Charleston, South Carolina. Micah, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
We are doing great, man. What's going on with you?
I'm currently here in Charleston. I'm stationed here, U.S. Navy. I'm looking at getting the rest of my enlistment bonus going to be about $18,000, and then re-enlisting in a couple of months for anywhere between $80,000 to $120,000.
Awesome.
Half of which I'll get up front and the rest in payments. And I wanted a little bit of advice on how to be smart with my money. I'm currently sitting on roughly $40,000 of combined student loan debt and car debt. And I was thinking about paying it off 100%, just getting rid of it, having zero debt left behind. But all my friends and everybody I know is telling me that I shouldn't pay off my car because I should hold on to that and have it help build my credit.
They want you to hold on to debt to build your credit.
Yes.
Are they making your payments on the student loan and the car?
No.
Then they don't get a say.
No.
And the reason the credit score exists is to vet people to go into debt. Do you plan on going further into debt?
The only other thing I plan on taking money out for is a house.
A mortgage. Great. You can do that without a credit score. And I tell you that with great confidence because I did it. And it's called a no-score loan through a process called manual underwriting. Our friends at Churchill Mortgage, they do these every single day. And what they do is they take a real look. That's why it's called manual and not automated underwriting, because a real person looks at your financial picture and says, hey, Micah's made on-time rent payments for a year. Micah's paid his cell phone bills and insurance bills for a year. Micah's income-to-debt ratio looks great. We're going to give Micah the mortgage. It's about that simple.
Gotcha.
People try to overcomplicate it. They try to steer you away from it. They tell you it's way more expensive. It's so difficult. It's really that simple. And so I would pay off all of this debt, and I would never look back because, again, the only reason you want that credit score is now for the mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just went over why you don't need it.
Yeah.
Any other concerns about the credit score?
Not really. I mean, it kind of got trashed about 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't know what I was doing with stuff, and I've been working it up from about 300. It's in the 600s now.
Okay. Yeah, a bad score can and will hurt you when you go to get the mortgage. So the goal here is we're going to pay off all of the consumer debt, close all accounts, cut up all the credit cards, close those accounts if you have any, and over a period of time, 6 to 12 months, while you save up your emergency fund, your down payment on the house, it's going to take you that long, right? A year or 2, 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your credit score will become indeterminable. So it probably won't go all the way down to 0. It will just disappear eventually to where when you go to check your score, it will say indeterminable.
Gotcha.
And by the way, there's other things people will tell you need it for, like buying a car, which you don't need if you're paying cash. So save up and pay cash for used cars. You don't need it to rent a car. Just check the policy with each rental car company. You might just need to have a little buffer in your checking account because they may add a hold if you use a debit card.
Gotcha.
And then even renting homes. I've rented multiple homes and apartments with no credit score. Because what they're looking for is a bad credit score to show, oh, this person doesn't make payments on time. No score doesn't say that.
Gotcha.
Does that help you?
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Okay, tell your friends to go watch this clip, and maybe you guys can sit down and listen to episode 7 of The Fine Print. It's called The Dirty Truth Behind Your Credit Score, and I break all of this down in nerdy detail. I talk to mortgage lenders, I call apartments and landlords at random all over the country and ask them if I can rent without a credit score, and I hope it helps just squash this myth and mythology that you need a credit score to live your life.
Gotcha. I'm gonna make sure to show my friends that then.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for the call, man, and thank you for your service in the Navy. That's awesome. You sound like a bright young man making fantastic money. Let's get rid of all this debt, get the emergency fund, begin building wealth for the future, and never look back. All right, let's move on to Courtney in Boise. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
How's it going?
It's going. So I have zero debt, no credit score. So when they pull my credit score, it doesn't exist. Okay. Which is great. I have a fully funded emergency and some money put aside for a nice down payment. I'm running into issues being able to rent or especially buy, because I've also simplified a lot of my all of my bills, so I'm having issues even qualifying for that manual underwriting.
And why is that? Have you asked them why you're not qualifying?
Yeah, so they said that they want at least four lines of bills. So like
like a
rent,
cell phone,
utilities,
insurance, utilities.
cell phone. Yeah, and I don't buy anything. I always try and pay in cash right away, so I don't have those monthly payments.
So you're paying in
so I
cash
only
for
have
like your
2
electric
lines.
bill and your water bill?
Yeah, so I have my rent and my electric bill. All my other utilities are paid through rent, and so it only counts
As
those
one line.
two.
Okay. So how
Mhm.
many lines do you currently have?
2.
You got 2. So if we needed 2 more,
Yeah.
are there other normal monthly payments you're making, like insurance premiums, anything like that?
I pay for my insurance at the beginning, so I'm being told that doesn't qualify because I don't have those monthly bills. So I can create. I can create those monthly payments instead of paying up front. But like for instance, my internet I do prepaid because I get it for quite a bit cheaper that way. But then because it's prepaid, that doesn't count as a line.
Okay.
In
What
full,
lender
so-
have you contacted so far for this?
I've gone through probably. I've spoken to at least 5 different lenders in my area.
Okay. Have you tried calling Churchill yet?
I have not.
I would give them a shot. Call Churchill Mortgage. They're licensed in your state, and get their opinion on this, and they can give you some good hard facts on exactly what you need to do this in the shortest amount of time possible. You said you have full down payment saved already? How much is that?
Yeah, I have. I have just under 50,000.
Okay. So worst case, you might need to rent and keep these lines going for another 6 to 12 months and then get the house. But that's only going to put you in a better buying position when you have a bigger down payment. It opens up your options. So it stinks that you're going through this. I'm sorry to hear that. But get these new lines open. You might need to switch to monthly payments because that's what they're looking for, is just consistent monthly payments. And if you have that across those 4 lines, you should be in good shape to get this mortgage through the manual underwriting process. So wishing you the best. Call our friends at Churchill Mortgage. They'll be happy to help you. Tell them we sent you. They'll treat you right. Thanks for the call, Courtney. This is The Ramsey Show. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day comes from Lamentations 3:22 and 23. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, with the new day comes new strength and new thoughts. Brent joins us up next in Salt Lake City. Brent, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. How can we help?
Okay. I have some cash, which it's about $55,000.
All right.
In my credit union. And I'm really afraid of this economy, the way it sits right now. So,
what are you afraid of?
The collapse.
Based on?
Well, yeah. In the past, in past history, the government has come in and shut down banks and taken people's money. Granted, it's been 100 years ago, basically. I mean, it could happen, couldn't it?
Anything could happen, but what's likely to happen? Do you think all of your money is going to disappear in that bank?
Well, I have a lot more in that bank than just this cash.
And it's insured, correct?
It's insured, correct.
Up to $250,000 per person on the account?
Per person.
Do you have more than that in one account?
Well, I have 2 separate accounts in stocks, and
well, you can't be that scared since all your money's there. What's the fear driving all this all of a sudden?
Listen to all these YouTube videos, I think.
So Brent,
fear-mongering clickbait YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all you do is pay attention to conspiracy theories and all these things that could happen, then it's going to absolutely impact you. And so I don't want to discount what your fears are, what you believe, your philosophies on government. I don't want to get down into that, but I would say this: the worst. I mean, you start concocting the worst case scenario. Could it happen? I guess. Who knows the percentage chances? You can't argue about that because no one knows the percentage chance of any of that happening. But could it happen? Sure. But living life requires you to make some smart decisions based on the realities of what's working, the stock market, mutual fund performance, all that stuff has got history, and that's what you know. But deciding what to do with your money based on something that you don't know is going to happen, that doesn't get you anywhere at all. So unless you're planning to go to a bunker somewhere and live off of the chickens and off grid and bury your money in coffee tins, then you know what to do. You know what to do with that money.
Yeah, I know.
Stop watching the YouTube apocalyptic videos, first of all.
That's why I've been watching you instead.
That's good. We got a head on our shoulders, and we don't do fear-mongering. Well, what is there a question underneath all of this that we can help with today?
Well, and I just retired, and now I've got a 401k I've got to do something with too. Half's in a Roth and half of it's in a traditional. That, do I take it out or do I just leave it there and let it ride?
Well, do you need the money? What are you living off of right now?
No. Both my wife and I retired. I just retired the end of December. Combined, we live off of about $8,000 a month.
And where does that come from?
Her retirement from the government and my retirement from Social Security and
so between the pension and Social Security, you guys aren't even touching retirement accounts.
Oh no.
What's the total of your nest egg?
2, 3 with our house, because our house is paid for basically.
What's the house worth?
6. Was worth 8 at the high peak.
So 600,000.
What do you have in retirement accounts?
Probably close to 400.
Okay, but it sounds like from the pension and Social Security, you guys are covered. So that 400 can continue to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would let it ride.
Lose it. I just don't want to lose it.
Well, I mean, you'll have required minimum distributions on those eventually, on the traditional side.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing you'll have to worry about. But you're not going to lose it. It's not going to disappear into the abyss. Worst case, do you have any kids it'll be passed down to?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a great blessing and legacy for them.
Is it a good thing to put set up a trust and get everything put into a trust at this point in time?
If you'd like to, if there's a very specific way you want this money distributed with terms and conditions and some strings attached, then it's a wise thing to look into.
Yeah. Plus, I have insurance, my life insurance. And
do you have a will in place?
Insurance. We have a living will right now, but it's fairly old. We need to do something, and update it, I'm sure.
I'd get all of that in order, and I would sleep well at night and get off the YouTube channels, Brent. You're doing great. You guys have a great retirement income, even without touching those accounts. But I'd just let it ride. And there's some great tax strategies you can use with the Roth versus traditional side. So I'd connect with a SmartVestor Pro if you want to figure out how to best utilize that money down the line. All right, let's take a quick one here from Ann. Ann, we're right up against the clock. Get to the question. How can we help today?
Okay, so I'm close to 60. My husband and I, we have zero debt. We own our home free and clear. I still work. We both still work. What do we do with our money?
So the income you have coming in, or do you have savings?
We have savings. I currently contribute 30% of my pay into my retirement account, my 401.
Awesome.
And my husband puts money in. We have about 20 in just our regular savings account. Our living expenses are practically nothing. So I probably have about $3,000 disposable a month.
Great. Well, there's only three things you can do with money at the end of the day. Give it, save it, and spend it. And I would suggest you do all three. And so find something you're passionate about. Maybe it's your local community, local church. Maybe it's a global mission, an organization that's doing great work, and give there. And then find some spending goals. Do you guys do fun things? Do you like to travel? Do you have any hobbies?
We haven't done much of that. We say we're going to, but we never do it.
I know your type, Ann. You guys have worked so hard your whole life, penny pinching, and it's hard to let go and enjoy some of it.
Ann, where do you want to go?
I want to go to Canada.
There we go.
Where in Canada?
I don't really know. I'm thinking Quebec. I would like to go and see Canada.
We just booked your next trip.
Fantastic. You're out in the Seattle area. Why don't you go up to Vancouver and then make your way across the lovely country and end up in Quebec? Very French, very fun. But, start to map this thing out. Let's go. You got some money.
Start to dream with your husband and go, what's all the things we haven't done yet? And
might I suggest some place with less rain and warmer temp?
There we go.
In Seattle.
And then find some hobbies. If there's something you've always wanted to do or something you used to love to do that you haven't had time to do.
What's a hobby you want to do?
And I keep saying that I want to do that when I retire, but I'm still working, and I'm saving that for the retirement years where I can give full 100% of my time to a cause, which is
Well, you can do that part-time right now.
Yeah.
I can.
You've got vacation time, right?
I do.
When do you guys think you'll retire?
I want to work until I'm 70. I
love it.
I enjoy what I do.
You're talking to the right guy here with Ken Coleman here.
That's right.
That's a great thing to want to do.
As long as you take some trips.
Yeah, you guys are doing great on the savings side, Ann. And so I would just look at give and spend side and go, let's have some goals where we force ourselves to spend some money here and give some there. That will make you feel balanced so you're not just penny pinching until you go, what did we do all of this for? Let's live like no one else. That's what this plan's about. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to Ken Coleman, all the guys in the booth. We've got Ben, we've got Austin, James, Zach, Andrew. Everyone's in there. And you, America, you're out there listening, and we love you for it. And we'll be back real soon on The Ramsey Show. Hey, it's George Camel. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.